Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy. For Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with.
I'm Dave.
And today we got a GM 911 from Tim, the DM, and he's got a group of 7 players in his game, and one of the characters one of the players has a habit of sacrificing his character because he wants to go try the new shiny race, class, whatever have you. And in this particular game, it's caused a headache, and now out of the 7 players, five in total have sacrificed their character to go start a new group or a new character, and now the group are all but strangers because only 2 of them are left from the original.
If you guys have a GM 911 you would like us to answer, you can email us at nerdarchy@gmail.com, or you can head over to nerdarchy.com where you can find the forums where there's a
GM 911 section.
Yes, and that's where we will filter your GM 911s from. Now back to this GM 911. So, he doesn't have any. He only has 2 of his original players left. There's no cohesion with the group. They don't.
They all want to run off and do their own thing rather than work together as a group. He's tried leaving hints, giving quests. He's done everything that he can possibly think of to rally the troops together, get them operating as a team, but they're all so focused that they're wanting to do all these other individual things or paired things as opposed to the group thing.
So you got a couple options here. One is an out-of-game conversation where you go, hey, guys, I would like you guys all to work together and stay together as a group because otherwise some of you guys are going to be sitting on the side. Or you could literally go, okay, I let people do stuff on their side and someone can sit there for 45 minutes and not play until they realize that if they don't want to sit there and do nothing, then they all have to work together.
Right.
Or you could find a way to tie all their separate stories together, and this way they technically have the same goal. Mm-hmm. And now this is different than you putting forth your unified idea of why they should be together doing this one thing. You literally have to look at each of the characters individually and go, what is it they're trying to do? Is there someone in their backstory, that I can reintroduce that will galvanize them? Is there a thing, object, quest, place, whatever that this individual character is, and you have to kind of like make a list of these things for each of the characters, and then you're gonna have to play connect the dots.
You're gonna have to start weaving those threads, and it could be a lot of work. This is a situation where session 0 is not going to help because the problem starts in the middle of the game.
Yes.
So what you need to do is you need to go with the second option of asking the people in between sessions, what are you looking to do? What are you planning to do with the next session? So if they surprise you with a, hey, I want to go do this, well, if they surprise you with it when you still have time to plan, you can still figure out how to weave those threads back into one central plot line. And it might not be possible, it might be, or it might be really hard to get all of those plots weaved together, but it is possible. It's if you leave one character out of it, then he's going to be like, well, all right, well, they're all going off on that way. What do I do? And he might join in, or he might say, okay, well, screw it, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm going to the tavern. Or there is choices and illusion option as well. Right or left at the fork in the road, they both lead to the ogre, right?
Right.
So, you could literally have them go off and do their own thing, and somehow it leads back to the same thing, which goes back to the plot weaving in a different sense.
Right.
So you as the GM may not actually know what they're going to do that session, but here's the beauty of it. You can just change things on the fly if you want. So they all decide to do their own things, right? And, unbeknownst to the player, there's a master villain that actually engineered for them all to do their own things. Mm-hmm. And it just made it seem like that's what they wanted to do because he put the thing before them that attracted them.
Right.
So in that case, they all, all these different things are going to lead back to him and his death trap. And then they have to work together to get out of it or whatever. That's just like one broad sweeping idea of, during the middle of the session, you kind of do something like that.
And like as Dave says, the master villain, if you put forth some kind of scenario where they are forced to work together in order to survive, that is actually going to build camaraderie, because there is nothing that builds a relationship faster than this person saved my life.
Yeah, they need those bonding moments. Or sometimes you just take the matter out of their hands, like in the very beginning of the session, where you just transport them somewhere where they are all there together, and pretty much, unless they plan on going off on their own directions from that point, or you can really be railroady with it, for a session or two to try and get them to gel together.
Your Maze of Mandoon is one of those perfect scenarios where they go to sleep, and wherever they were, they wake up in the middle of this maze, and it doesn't really matter what direction they decide to go, because you are the master of this maze, and you could have them, okay, 3 of them went that way, 3 of them went that way, 1 person went that way, and they round the corner, and they're back together.
Yeah, or they each enter the same chamber from 3 different directions, and there's 4 ways left, so I guess we should all go down that way,
So, and it could be like, I don't know what the party makeup is, I don't know what the dynamics are, but if you're dealing with hero type characters and you want to have some kind of powerful force, perhaps this maze is that bonding moment, that shining example that they need to work together, and it's only through that us working together can they actually get that door open or get out, find their way through, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, and you said something really important too, like in tabletop RPGs, when I'm gaming, I like to be the hero for the most part, and I like my players to be the hero as well. So they should have that in common, hopefully. And so when something bad happens, they would want to kind of remedy, fix it, keep it from spreading, keep it from happening. It could literally be something like they're in the town and a horde of orcs descend upon the town. Well, in that case, there's like different things they could do on their own, but ultimately they're all going to be hopefully they're all working towards the same purpose of defending the town from the horde of orcs.
Right.
And maybe they do have different ways of doing it, but at least at that point they're still operating on the same story arc together.
Right.
And we're not really advocating for like railroading your players all over the place. But as a session or two, you might need to try and do something to instill that camaraderie in them.
Absolutely.
Put them on a boat. Put them on a boat. Like, there's nowhere to really go. It's only so big. Or an airship, or a spaceship, or whatever it takes.
So, as Dave says, railroading is one of those things that a lot of people really dislike in current tabletop RPGs. But there's just as many groups out there that run pre-planned modules that literally forces the players, this is your choice, A or B. C is not an option. You must go this way or you must go back. So when you have these type of scenarios, you have that situation where the characters are just going through the motions. In a free-form, sandbox type game, you can put that railroad in there or use the illusion of choice. And
well, the other thing too is it's still a box, right?
Right.
When we say sandbox, it's still a box, so there's parameters,
right,
in a sense. Our friend DMG Info Gareth from Down Under says it best. They're all railroads, just some tracks are wider than others. So
that's a pretty good one.
So once you get that camaraderie, once you get them some common goals that they've agreed upon, not that you've agreed on, then you can open it up a little bit more. But every once in a while, you're just going to have to throw in scenarios to make them bond. And like being on a ship where, it's only so big and they can't really get that far from each other. When the problems happen, like they all have to deal with it because they're on the same ship and, if that ship sinks, everybody sinks.
Right.
So I like doing that, or the idea of, once the scenario happens, and they didn't really have any say in that, but after that they can do whatever they want. Like the Maze of Bandoon, you don't have any options once you're in the maze, or once getting to the maze. But after you're in the maze, you can do whatever you want. So there's the real life happens like that. Sometimes things just happen, and although you really do still have choices, there aren't a lot of good ones. Like
Right.
So it's at that point it's almost like not having choices. You're in a car accident, you break both your legs. Well, guess what? You're probably going to the hospital at this point. I mean,
I don't want to.
You could not go to the hospital, end up with your legs healing wrong and being crippled, but that is an option. But it's not a good one, and
Right.
next thing you know, people are putting you on a stretcher and carting you off, and you can't get away because your legs are broken.
So we look at it, illusion of choice. You have the forced situation of get the group together to be able to build that camaraderie. You can take all of those stories, weave them together, braid all those things together into one uniform plot line. I think those are some pretty good examples. What about you guys out there? Do you have any suggestions for Tim how to deal with this crazy bunch of players? Put your thoughts and comments down below. While you're at it, like, share, even subscribe.
You can head over to nerdarchy.com where you can find Nerdarchy the store and get nerdy swag.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.